consider yourself the right away. This has connotations. So this is Dawn's gone through her process on the air, been very honest about it, how she's gone from cringing at the phrase white privilege to understanding there are times where, of course, those of us that are white get some privilege that others don't.
Yep.
This phrase itself could make some people cringe. I don't think it would you, Brandon. I think this is more of a me thing.
Oh.
Okay. Would you describe yourself as a modern man?
Oh, Jesus.
Now, when I say it like that, it's not very helpful. But do you think you're a modern man?
Sure. I mean, I live in a modern world, and I'm up to, and I'm a material girl. I think that there's a fine line that I walk from being like an old man and wanting to stay in my antiquated ways. But I think that everybody goes through that as they age. But I feel like I'm up to it. I feel like I'm hip, and I wonder where you're going with this. Is this like fashion or just lifestyle?
And it can be all of those things. And I will get more specific based on this new survey.
Don't like the term.
I knew you wouldn't because you're such a boomer in so many ways.
God. With it. And I wouldn't even put like Brandon is very open-minded. So I guess that's a modern man, but
I would hope so.
Right, yeah.
I think anybody should be open-minded.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing.
I wasn't saying it was a bad thing. I'm saying that I wouldn't put Brandon, I don't know if I'd put him under the typical modern man. I have to wait till you describe it. Because I am envisioning somebody soft. He's a woman now. And that's not how I would describe Brandon. He's open-minded, yes. And that's a modern man. But he also grew up in a time where he was raised tough.
So let me get this straight. So all men who aren't modern were closed-minded.
No,
because you're just sticking with open-minded as your only definition.
No, I'm saying like that's a good thing. If modern man includes being open-minded, great. Brandon does fall under that. So do you. And I think that's the only place until you read the other
and because you've gone through this process like you haven't you haven't gone through the process like you did with white privilege. You right away assume this is a negative thing because we've been around for the metrosexualization of men, which in the beginning, same thing. No, I'm not going to do that. Now I'm a total metrosexual based on the definition 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I bet you still don't take as long to get ready as your wife does.
That was always a stupid meme. That was a sitcom meme.
Dudes, there are girls that have dated dudes that take forever.
That is not what was occurring when we were talking about metrosexualization at the turn of the century. We were simply talking about men taking care of themselves.
I hated that.
And yes.
Oh, yes. Self-care. I hate that.
We had to be so resistant. Yeah, and then a lot of us started doing it going, this is and then the women in our lives went, this is so much better. Thank you.
Lotion feels kind of good.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, but you're not going to get me to come to the other side if this one is describing them being soft and not manly.
That I haven't even gotten there yet.
I know, that's why I'm holding off.
See what you're doing? You know what we call this in the psychological world? You're putting up barriers right away. You're building
deflecting
walls.
Because men get shamed for being men now. They're told they're too aggressive. Men should be aggressive. But now it's like somehow a bad thing.
By the way, men should be aggressive at appropriate times.
Well, yes. Yes, that's very important.
You leave out very important words.
But see, I know what I'm talking about. I can't help if people go somewhere ucky.
Well, thank you for getting into broadcasting. As long as you know.
We just need to get a boomer translator.
What you're talking about. A new poll asked people to name the top traits of a modern man who's comfortable with the current era that we're in. And so this is what most people define as a modern man. Let's find out if they're all as negative as Dawn insists they be, because a lot of things about growth can be good, and there can be bad things. We can go too far.
Yeah.
But in the whole scope of things, maybe being a modern man is, on balance, a better thing.
All right, well, let's hear it.
Dawn has already made her decision. This is a stupid list. It's a stupid discussion. It's a stupid idea. All men should be riding horses, cursing, drinking and driving, dragging women to their caves after bonking them on the head, and being aggressive at all times. If you're a modern man, number one, these are in no particular order. Let's go through. We'll see how many points Brandon and I get.
Okay.
All right.
You do your fair share of the cleaning.
Oh,
I do, but I don't enough. I feel like I don't do enough around the house.
Yeah, but you're always hard on yourself.
I am pretty hard on myself, but I don't. I feel like there's certain things that I've been improving on. Like whenever I'm in various rooms, I try to pick up after myself, or at least pick up some things that might be askew, or just I hate clutter, and that's one thing that I'm really trying to work on at home.
Okay. You do other things around the house besides the garbage, though.
Yeah,
You're not Fred Flintstone. You don't go home, put your feet up, wait for dinner to be served, and the only thing you do is put the cat out and take the garbage out. Those are the two things Fred Flintstone did.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of us are kind of pushing some sort of chores aside these days because we're all stuck at home more often. So I think we push things off a little bit more, especially like laundry. It just piles up. Like there's no folding of laundry anymore. It just there's a pile of dirty laundry and there's a pile of clean laundry. Try to guess which one it is.
Our laundry room, I don't even know. I mean, there's 3 different like baskets to throw things in, whether it's towels or blankets or clothes, whatever.
Oh my.
And they're like, with the blankets and the sheets piled high. And then on top of the washer
You wouldn't
and
believe
dryer,
the pile of sheets at Dawn's house. Big pile of white sheets.
And then on top of the washer and dryer, there's this box of
What's in the box?
of towels that I had delivered, and they still need to be washed, but they're just in the box stacked on top of it. It's like it's never ending. You get to like one pile and there's still a pile, and you're just like, oh my God. Never mind. Avoid the laundry room.
The laundry room at our house is now referred to as my wife's downstairs closet. Because she just gets dressed in there because that's where the clothes
great.
are. The quarantine, my closet has already been deemed a disaster area. The quarantine has absolutely been awful for clutter in America. What we have still not yet gotten to all of the collateral damage we've done to our lives, but of course, for some reason, being cooped up at home has made us more cluttery.
Listen, our room would be on my side of the bedroom, would still look like a teenager if it hadn't been my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, passed away this year, and we were clearing out the house. And you're sitting there and you're like, how, and this speaks to any of us, but you're like, how does one person have this much stuff? So when we got back to town, I was like, oh God, I need to clean my side of the room at least. I just can't have this. Like if I were to die, it just like inspires you. Otherwise, it would still look like a 16-year-old lived on my side of the bedroom.
All right, Brandon, we're giving you a point for that.
Yeah,
you do your,
sure.
fair share of cleaning, and I do as well. So I'm.
Well, that's a good thing. This is good.
Wow, one. We've got one, and I'm sure that's the last one. Come on, bring it on. Let me guess. Next one. You like to wear a dress. That's a modern man, right?
What if I said yes? Say yes to the dress.
You can do whatever you want. I'm talking about the rest of the world. If your boss or manager was a woman, you'd be totally fine with it.
If my boss were a man or a woman.
No, if you no.
Oh.
If your boss or manager.
Oh, got it.
You're a typical man. You don't listen.
Yes, of course.
If your boss or manager was a woman, you'd be totally fine with it.
Absolutely.
Good. Yes.
Dumb.
Okay, that's good.
I'll never have a boss or manager again, but I had women bosses and managers, and they were just as bad as the men ones. And that's why I became the boss and manager.
Oh man, that's great.
You're a good listener.
What?
That one does take. Yeah, I mean,
Sometimes I'm a selective listener, but I'm so hyperactive in my attention. I probably have ADD. I don't know, but I think that because I'm always paying attention to so many things specifically, I have selective hearing.
I think this is unfair. This should not be on any man list. This is unfair to men because you guys are trying to edit as best you can. If the words spoken to you are too many. I think men's brains just don't work like that sometimes. I'm not saying you don't listen, but it's like you do have selective listening, and that's just how you're set up. So I think it's wrong to insist that a man could ever fully be the most fabulous listener.
Well, this is the great thing about this survey. It's a survey of men and women. It's not a woman's definition as to whether or not men are good listeners. It's all of us. And so if men are even making an effort and men think they're a good listener,
okay,
that counts in terms of of the definition of it, because you are completely right. Men and women are never going to ever agree on communication. You guys talk way too much. You say way too many words. You give way too many details. And most men are thinking in their brain, and sometimes we do this to you. We got it. I already know the answer. I don't need to hear everything else you want to say, but I need to say it.
You're like, call a friend.
So it is, in that sense, you're right. It would be unfair to claim that men in mass are ever going to become listeners like women. Just, are you, Brandon, a good listener by today's standards?
Yes.
You make an effort when you need to.
Yeah.
You try to communicate.
I do. And when I do communicate with others, I give them my undivided attention. I try to look them in the eye. If we're in person, that doesn't really happen very often anymore. But yes, I am a good listener.
See, so to me, that's what I like about it. Under modern man, you're trying, at least. Maybe you're not as good as you could be, but you're trying. Because an old caveman type dude wouldn't even try. He'd just be like, whatever, who cares, get over it.
Caveman couldn't talk.
Brandon, are you openly affectionate?
Yeah, I'd say so.
See, again, the thing that's nice about this as a survey is that it will still come down to finding someone that is compatible with whatever your version of affection is. This does not mean that every modern man is walking around with public displays of affection and playing creepily with his girl's hair or his guy's in inappropriate situations. But being openly affectionate means that you're not opposed to holding hands or whatever it is that your woman wants you to do.
And I think that this could expand beyond partners. Like, I think that if you show affection towards friends or family, like, there's a lot of cold people in my family that don't show affection, and I could see that there would be, and I feel like I'm openly affectionate to most people, and like you said, Rob, I think that it comes down to compatibility. Like, I'll show affection to Dawn differently than I'll show affection to you. I'll openly mouth kiss you, while I will just give Dawn a hug.
Yeah, I want to get her hugs. There's a fine line to where it could get that, I don't know, creepy or uncomfortable guy who's so clingy.
Right. That's the compatibility thing.
But for that guy who, even for most people, is like, oh my gosh, you're like a lap dog, right? Like, you just will not stop. Like, whether you're in public or personal. Geez,
that's not what anybody said here. I mean, I covered all that. I covered all of that.
No, why are you getting upset? I know.
Oh, now I'm getting upset. Well.
You're using that tone.
Isn't that interesting?
I was like envisioning, oh gosh, where even like they're almost the guy that cries when he hugs you. But as I'm like talking about it, when you say the compatibility, I'm like, it kind of stops me, because I'm like, wow,
I wish it would have stopped you.
There might be.
We might have finished this segment.
There might be a person who actually likes that. Like, the
might be.
constant clingy.
There are tons of people. There are tons of men and women that love that.
Oh,
and that's what, and for decades, that was the segment of society complaining about men that wouldn't do it. And then men who were actually into it as well, started to find those women and men.
Without mentioning the person, because this is where I'm going, and I hope you know what I'm talking about. There was someone back in the 90s that we worked with that was this way, and we all noticed, and it was really uncomfortable. We were like, dude,
yes, Chris Payne. He's a radio guy. I know exactly what you're talking about. I have no problem saying his name on the air. What's he going to do, sue me for slander when we're talking about something that's true?
It's true, I wasn't.
I know. Brandon, so I'm not. By the way, you can try to tell me all day long. No, I don't get a point for that. I am not openly affectionate. I do not say half of what I'm thinking that's positive to people in my life.
I know.
Yes, you do. So I'm not getting a point for that one, but you are. Do you talk openly about your feelings?
No.
Yeah, that one I can't get on board. You got to pry them out of me.
Oh yeah. If anything, I will go introverted real quick. I'm a snail when it comes to my emotions.
Yeah. Now, do you do it? But do you do it for the same reasons? Like, are you like if you're more the Cro-Magnon man like me, the reason I don't talk about my feelings is it shows weakness. Period.
Ding 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 ding.
Okay, so it is the same. Right?
That's
okay.
it.
All right. So, wait, you're so nauseating this segment. You are getting so upset about men being defined as pussies, and then when we show a little sliver of we're old school men.
Yeah. So here's the other thing to annoy you.
God.
that is a typical man. But it makes me sad that you guys think it makes you weak. When it doesn't. It doesn't. It makes you strong to be able to share how you feel. And to get those feelings out of you takes days. Oh my God. It's like trying to crack a nut. You don't have a nutcracker.
That's all I hear. And then she closes with nutcracker, the worst thing a man wants to hear. All right, no points for either one of us. Similar, Brandon, are you okay discussing your mental health?
Oh.
I've been trying to be more comfortable with that lately because I feel like it's something really important to discuss, especially these days.
I don't like the way that's phrased. Are you okay discussing your mental health? Not so much.
Well, in certain settings with certain people.
Yeah. So not really.
It's a vulnerable thing.
Right. There's a lot of qualifiers there. Whereas women will talk about their mental health all day long, even if you don't ask them.
Well, there's such a shame that was put to it for so many years.
Which is a good thing.
No.
I think normalizing the conversation about the various things like mental health and sex could make things a little bit easier.
Only in, as you said, certain situations. Because the implication here of you're okay discussing your mental health, it doesn't say you're okay discussing your mental health at certain times with certain people. The implication is, oh yes, I'm just going to walk in every day and tell you exactly what mood I'm in and how I'm being affected today by what's going, especially in 2020.
All right, no, I wouldn't like that. That's not a man.
No.
Now, but if you will discuss it though in the right setting,
Not what they said. Nope.
Then that would. But what you just described, no that
points.
would be different.
Brandon, are you great with kids?
Oh,
actually, yes.
This is I don't know how to handle this one because I hate it, but I'm told I'm good with
you
them.
are really good with kids.
And I'm the same way. Just because I don't like the smell of kids, like the animal crackers and formula, and
their stupid questions.
Well, that's the thing, though. Is like I end up having great conversations. Maybe that says something about my mentality. But when I'm in the presence of kids, it's like, okay, all right, this is fun. I can actually have fun with you.
That's where I didn't give myself a point yet on this because I believe it's because I limit my exposure to kids so much.
Yeah.
That's why I'm, quote, great with kids. Give me a kid for a weekend, I won't be great with that kid by Saturday morning.
But that's not what it asked. It just asked if you're great with kids, and you are. When you are around children, you are great with them.
But if you put me around kids more than my comfort zone, which is only a couple hours, I'm out. And see, what's implied of you're great with kids is that women look at you and think, oh, you'd make a great father. Right. Anybody that knows me knows I would make a horrible father in one way or another. Either I would be just a terrible dad, or I would drink myself to death immediately.
Right.
It's one of the two things. I don't know about that one.
You get a point because it simply asks if you're good with kids. It doesn't give time frames. Are you good with children if you've spent a week with them? It doesn't say that.
God.
But if it said that, absolutely you would not get a point. But it's just a basic question.
I bet my wife, if she's listening, is like, babe, you are not great with kids. I will ask the most honest person in my life when I get home. All right, we got to get through a couple more here. Brandon, would you be fine being a stay-at-home dad?
Well, I mean...
See, the difference with you is you hesitated, so I'll give you half a point.
I could work from home these days, so...
Stay at home. But see, but the implication was the last word.
So I'm Mr. Mom.
But what was the last word?
Stay-at-home dad.
Uh-huh.
Right.
You're a dad. So I'm out right away.
Oh,
yeah. I'm not going to have kids. Right. So,
and you don't want to have kids.
I wouldn't want to be a stay-at-home dad, but I would do it if that was the only way to get by.
Then you don't always feel the need to put on a brave face. That's like a double negative. You don't always feel the need to put on a brave face. So I definitely don't qualify for that one.
I think that there's...
In other words, you put on a brave face all the time.
Yeah.
No.
You feel like you should always put on a brave face.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, most of the time I do. This is a weird question.
It's a terribly phrased because it's got that negative in there. You don't always feel the need to put on a brave face. The right way to say it is, do you feel the need as a man to always put on a brave face? And for the most part, I mean, like 95.8% of the time, the answer for me is yes.
Yes, thank you for putting it much more eloquently than I could.
Better.
Terrible, sir.
That's better. And that should be... men should want to put on a brave face. That's part of being a man.
So in the end, really, neither one of us is a modern man, Brando.
Oh,
I knew it. I knew it.
Because you only got looks like 3.5 maybe, and I got 2.5, depending on how you break it down. We did get an email from Corey.
Hey, Corey.
About the way Dawn wants men to be, and I was giving some examples. He did thank you for the clarification. It says, Rob, make sure that after you bonk them over the head, you drag your women by the hair. If you drag them by the feet, they fill up with sand. That's a classic joke. Appreciate that.